welcome back to the channel. One of the big myths in the horse world is that if you're not working your horse every single day, you're falling behind. And I believed that for a long time. Maybe not working them every single day, but definitely working hard 6 days a week. But after owning horses for over 2 decades and learning some lessons the hard way, I've realized something important. Working your horse every day isn't just unnecessary, sometimes it's actually counterproductive. Today I want to talk about why you do not need to work your horse every day and what actually matters instead. We hear the word consistency and we automatically translate it to frequency, as in, I have to do something every single day or it doesn't count. You can definitely thank 75 Hard for that. I've definitely fallen into that trap before, and not just when it comes to my horses. There have been points with my fitness journey where I've definitely gotten obsessive and thought that being a fit person meant that you were working out, pounding your body every single day. But unfortunately, it left me crashing and burning and in some cases getting injured. A horse that has worked thoughtfully 3 to 4 times a week with clear expectations and good timing will progress far more than a horse who is drilled every single day without adequate recovery, or a horse that has worked every single day but with no real purpose behind those sessions. Horses learn through repetition. Yes, 100% they do. But they also learn through rest. The nervous system needs time to process what has been done and what has been asked. From a physical standpoint, horses are athletes. And for an athlete, muscles rebuild during rest, not during work. Joints recover during downtime. And tendons and ligaments, all those soft tissues, need time between sessions, especially as horses get older or if they have any unique soundness concerns. Working a horse every single day, especially if you're doing the same things every single day, will gradually wear a horse down. And often, unfortunately, by the time you notice that you've worn your horse down, it's too late. There's an injury pending or something else. The thing about horses is they are very stoic. They have evolved throughout the years to not show when they're in pain, because when a horse is out in the wild, if they're showing pain, they are going to be a target for predators. So horses have evolved to hide that pain and push along as much as they can, which is great when they're out in the wild in terms of survival. But when it comes to someone like me trying to interpret what's going on with my horse, it can make it incredibly challenging. So you might be drilling, thinking your horse is doing good, when in actuality, under the surface, he is trying to hide something from you that is eventually going to rear its ugly head in the form of some sort of an injury. The other side of this is the mental aspect, which I think we don't talk enough about our horse's mental well-being. A horse that is constantly being asked and monitored and managed and corrected, constantly being corrected, will eventually at some point just mentally check out. Again, even if they look fine on the surface. They might even start to resent you. They might start to become difficult to catch, or there might be other sort of behavioral issues that all of a sudden start to pop up. And again, it's all because your horse is just becoming mentally fried. Some of my best rides have come after giving my horses a few days off. They come back softer, more willing, and just more present. With my horses in particular, they also come back a little bit spicier, which I appreciate. I have 2 very laid back quarter horse geldings, and if I am constantly drilling them, we're in the same arena day after day, they get very, very dull, and it is very hard to keep them engaged. If I give them a few days off, maybe take them out in the pasture for a few days, and then come back after that rest, it's like I have an entirely different horse underneath me. It's like they've finally come back to life again, which is a great feeling. And that's totally not a coincidence at all. That is mental recovery in action. Another misconception is that if you're not actively riding your horse all the time, they're not doing anything. And that makes, it's not, horses are born to run, right? They move. And I think that is so misguided that if you're not in the arena asking them to lope circles, that they're not doing anything throughout the entire rest of their days. Turnout matters, movement matters, social interaction with other horses matters. Horses that live in an environment where they can move freely, they can roll and interact with other horses and just be a horse, they are far better off mentally than horses that live more restricted lives. So I am literally talking about horses that live in stalls. Like, I am a firm believer that that is not good for an extended period of time for any horse. I don't care if you have the most expensive show horse going. It is not healthy for them, physically or mentally. My horses are in a series of corrals that they have access to 24/7. At certain points during the year, if the grass is too rich or too tall, their space gets restricted a bit, but they still have plenty of room to run around, move, do whatever the heck they want to do, and just be a horse, because I am a huge advocate of horses being horses, because I know keeping them as natural as we can, as much in a way as they've evolved to live, the better they are going to be. As a performance horse, not just a pasture ornament, performance horses definitely benefit from that way of life. And just getting me back on track to the whole riding your horse every day, I would much rather have 2 to 3 very intentional, very thought out and good sessions per week than drilling my horse 7 days a week. Horses can tell when you're tired or distracted or forcing yourself to get out there to the barn and get them rode. When I stopped prioritizing quantity and started prioritizing quality, it made a huge difference. Not only was I more jazzed to go to the barn, but I think my horses just enjoyed it more too. We were both getting more out of it because we were keeping it fresh. We were both feeling good and in a much better spot to have better quality rides. A big goal of mine is, yes, I do want to be out in the barn with my horses as much as possible, especially, when I'm in this time of year, is super busy at work. I do not have a lot of time to be at the barn, but as soon as the busy time's over, my goal is to spend as much time as I can out there. That doesn't mean that I'm riding them all the time, but it's instead having very intentional rides, going to the barn, before I even get to the barn, having an intention for my ride, given the goals that I have for myself and my horse. What should I be doing today to get us closer to achieving that goal? And sometimes, yes, that means we're gonna push really hard today. We're gonna have a really sweaty, hard ride today. And other days that may mean I'm not saddling you up today. I'm going to brush you. We might go for a hand walk, and I'm going to leave you alone to just do your own thing, because sometimes that is what is needed. And I think becoming a truly good horse person is learning to determine what today is requiring of you as a horse person. Is it a day where we're going to saddle up and push her hard, or are we going to take her easy? That, I think, is a big difference between people who are good horsemen and people who aren't. And as I've said before, horse training is not a race. It is very much a long-term game. Giving your horse the day off does not make you lazy or inconsistent. At least, if you're not riding your horse on a consistent basis because you can't just be bothered to drag your butt out to the barn, that's a different situation. I'm talking about more where we're on the other extreme, where we are on the side of riding our horses and pushing too much. In those cases, giving your horse a day off, giving yourself a day off, is not lazy or being inconsistent. It's what's actually required to make good progress in the long term. Progress with your horses comes from knowing when to ask, knowing when to rest, and simply when to just let your horse be a horse. And in some cases, the best thing to do is to leave your saddle on the rack and do nothing. As obviously you don't want to hear that. Like, I'm like, I want to ride my horse all the time, but yeah, sometimes it's best to leave the saddle in the barn and do something different today. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe. You can follow me everywhere at Strong in the Saddle. And until next time, remember, it's always a good day to ride.